welcome. It's the final one of this 4-week series. So we're looking at, I called it Wise Body, Breath, Mind. It could have been called integration of those things. It could have had a number of themes and words, really. What we're looking into today, so we'll carry on with the kind of movement of the hand, if that kind of works for you. So you can either move the hand, remember, or you can just imagine a sensation in the center of your palm. And then we link that, we move the hands into different places, and we link that with the breath. So we kind of have a sense of movement and breath together, and the focus is the mind. So that's the kind of potential wisdom, the fact we're stepping back a little bit from constant thoughts to more of a focus on an internal body breath connection. So that's kind of where the wisdom-y bit theoretically is there. We're opening ourselves up to something different. We've also been, last week, we tried this, or you may have tried this thing where we kind of identify a thing about us that might be more challenging. So, and I said you could choose anything. You might have moved around, choosing something, or you may have been unsure. So if I give an example, so for me, I would probably most regularly go to kind of like, even though I'm a bit anxious, or even though I feel anxious, I still feel complete, or I still accept myself. So what I'm suggesting this week is that you do identify one thing for you. So it might be an impatience, it might be, that you're driven in some way, or it might be that whatever it might be, it's usually a thing. And if you can't think of something obvious, then just go for something and work with whatever comes to mind. So you'll be looking at that. So for me, it's even though I'm anxious, I fully accept myself. Even though I'm anxious, I fully love myself. Even though I'm anxious, I am complete. So something like those sort of mantras through your head. And if we get chance, which I'm going to try, is to get to another level, there'll be that level of just kind of acknowledging that emotion and sort of saying thank you, because whatever problem we have, either there's learning there, it might not feel like that in the moment, there's either learning there, or there's this potential for calm if we just say it's okay to be around some of the time, because that's who we are at this particular point for a particular reason with our circumstances and the world we live in, or whatever it is. So we're just trying to sort of step into things a little bit differently and just see how it feels within that. So I know I've gone on a little bit, but for once, this is one that kind of requires a little bit of explanation. Okay, so we're not going to look out because it's a bit dark. So we could look into the dark, but I think we'll give that a miss this week. So what I'm going to suggest is, what we're going to be doing is taking things in. So we're going to be using the in-breath a little bit more. But maybe if you've got a drink or something still available, then you could have a sip. And that is the sort of sip is the taking in. So we'll be taking in warmth, we're taking in hydration, we're just taking something in, and we're doing that all the time. So just as an experience, a kind of body experience, if you want to have a sip of water, or you just want to have a hold of the water and take in, or whatever drink is, just take that in, then you can just do that now. And then we'll move on to some movement. Okay. I'll put mine over there, a bit safer. So settling in wherever your seat is, so you might be going to the floor, you might be staying on your chair. Wherever you are, once you're kind of settling, if you rub your hands together just for a moment, so you have a sensation of hand on hand, that warming sensation potentially. You might be very warm, you might be very cool today. So depending how your setup is at home, it's early days and autumn is with us. Maybe while you're doing that, if you're sitting on the floor, maybe rocking side to side. You can rock side to side if you're in the chair, or you can walk your legs if you want to. So you're like picking your knees up and going from side to side. So there's a little bit of stimulus. We're kind of taking in the body and movement for a moment. We're getting a little bit of the joints working. We're getting our hands very sensitive to touch. And then we can pause that and we can rest our hands wherever we're going to choose to rest them. We can have a sense, maybe if you need to move your shoulders or move your head, or if you need to stretch or whatever you feel you might need to do to help you settle, then choose what feels good for you so that you feel kind of alive to the body even before we start. And then settle whether you just got your back supported or you're a little bit away from your chair or any support. You choose what's going to be working for you for the next 20 minutes. Okay, so wherever our hands are resting is where we're going to feel a greater sense of contact. So being really aware, taking that in, taking in the contact of the hands wherever they're resting. Whether it's against each other, whether it's against the body somewhere. So we've rubbed the hands, so the hands will be kind of fairly alive to a sense of touch. Might be warm, might be tingly. Might just be a big sensation of the whole of the palm and the fingers. So aware of the body. So if it's comfortable, like with one hand or both hands, if you have the palms facing down towards the earth, it can just be one hand if you prefer, then doing the movement that we've been doing, which is, or just imagining the space in the center of your palm, a slight uplift through the center of your palm and then a kind of return to wherever it was. So it's really small, or it's just a sensation in the center of your hands. And you're making a connection between either one hand or both hands, between the hand, the palm, the movement, and the connection with the earth. So it's a sort of taking in, connecting to a sense of the earth beneath you, whatever that might mean. Something solid, hopefully something safe, maybe something quite deep, deep down. So if there is a movement in the hand, that can be initially your rhythm. Yeah, you don't need to start with the breath unless that's kind of a natural automatic thing that you've already done and you set that up, that's fine. But if not, it can just be a sense. And how do you get that sense? So some of us will do that differently. Some of them might just get a sense of the earth instantly. It's something we find very easy. You might have to create some direct connection. So you might have to create a beam of light. Or you may have a sense of energy. So you might be more of an energy person where you can actually feel almost a sense of electricity coming through the hands from the earth. So if you are sensing this kind of something being received from the earth into the palm of your hand or palms of your hand. And what you probably, I mean, it's a difficult one. You might just see the earth as just something that is. Yeah, you might just, it's not something to be judgmental about. It's the earth. It's kind of like something solid. We just kind of accept it as it is. So if there is a quality of that kind of acceptance that's within that sense of the earth, then Please take that element in as well. If that just feels too complicated or doesn't seem to fit with your thinking, then please just take in, link with the energy, link with the ground. And then just pause for a moment and be conscious of the body, its relationship to the ground, feet on the ground, bottom on a chair that's connected to the ground. And through this connection is support from the ground, from the earth. Sense of being held. And maybe the hands have paused. That's kind of what I was suggesting, but pause them if they haven't had the opportunity just to be still for a moment. And then again, if it feels comfortable, if you turn one or both palms towards the sky, so there's a different relationship of the palms. So the palms might feel a bit different because now the palms have a more of a sense of the coolness or the warmth in the air. And they haven't got the warmth of the legs or wherever the contact point was. So they feel more open, maybe. So there'll be different sensation of the body, different sensation of the palms or palm. And if you want to create this sort of slight movement, then you can, or you can just imagine the center of your palm. So this time, the receiving, the taking in is coming from the space above you. So again, this might be a light, it might be a sense of an energy. It might feel very present and real. It might need to be really imagined and created. So the space, there's a kind of infinity, sense of no end. But again, we might be very kind of accepting of the space is the space, or the sky is the sky. Just as it is. And maybe you're still drawn to the earth and it's a difficult one to be turning towards a more spacious, open place. So if for any reason it feels more vulnerable or just not where you want to be, then you just take the hands and you put them back down and focus back on the earth again. No problem. We need to be where we need to be. And if you're taking in a light or an energy, it might be a different light or a different energy than the feel from the earth. Maybe, maybe not. And as the earth might have given you a sense of groundedness, then the sense now might be a bit more spacious sense. And you can meet that where you meet that. And again, pausing the movement, putting the hands wherever they're comfortable. Okay, so now we're going to be more conscious of the breath. So either one hand or both hands somewhere around the belly. So we might focus more on the movement, which might be really, really minimal of the belly. We can be aware of the breath in the body. So we may have been aware when we focused on the earth or focused on the sky or the space of a something that changed, or we may have been thinking of it kind of more one-dimensionally. I don't know. But now we're focused on the breath. We've certainly got a kind of change going on. There's a movement. It's never really one thing or another. There's a sort of process and a change, subtle one, moment by moment. Change with the in-breath as we take in, and a change with the out-breath as we let go. So if you can give a little bit more attention to the breath in, to the slight swelling of the belly into the hands. And be conscious of and grateful for that ability to literally take a breath, to receive it in the body. And recognize at least the potential nurturing quality of the breath. Again, there to support you, maybe to calm you, maybe to give you strength. But generally, it's breath as background. It's always there, but it's background. We're choosing to bring it to the foreground, to bring the mind when we can to the breath, to the movement of the hands on the body. Okay. So if you're happy to move one hand to the chest area, to the heart space, and keep one hand still on the belly, you can bring or change that at any time if it feels uncomfortable. So we've kind of still got in touch with the breath. We're still kind of grounded by the breath in the belly. But we've also got a hand now that's maybe being moved even maybe more subtly in the space around the heart and the chest. So there'll be warmth of the hand on the belly and some warmth of the hand around the heart space. So again, this may feel very real. It may feel a little bit kind of created. Just see how it goes. So this sense of could I actually let in or discover a sense of warmth or kindness or compassion somewhere in the heart space that feels kind of a sense of that, whatever that sense might be for you. So for most people, that's kind of like a felt sense. So we've got the body, the hands on the body, got the hand or hands gently moving through the breath. And we've got a felt sense of kindness. And if we can allow that kindness to look in, not necessarily to be something that you're offering out, it's something that you're bringing in. And as you sit with the body, the breath, and a sense of kindness to self, then maybe if it feels the right time, you could invite a series of words, a mantra, a connection with an emotion that is something that may be a little bit more challenging or a little bit more difficult. And say something like, I'll use anxious for my example. Even though I feel anxious, I feel fully accepting. Even though I feel anxious, I feel fully loved. Even though I'm anxious, I am complete. I am whole. So you may choose one of those, you may choose a different one. You may repeat the emotion even though, and go through the series of 2 or 3 additional statements that can live alongside. And if this isn't a practice that you feel comfortable with right now, then you can just focus on the hands, on the heart space, on the kindness, on the breath. If you really want to gently tap the collarbone area with the fingers, you can, or you can just keep the hands still. So if you found an emotional state that you have been working with, you can pause the statements if you wish. So the kind of final stage, if you want to go to try this out, is to take in that emotion and with the kindness, with the breath, a gentle thank you for the learning, for the protection, for being part of you that emotion has been, even though it's been difficult. So it might not be something you always feel towards a difficult emotion, but it could be something as a new relationship with that, maybe even just starting a tentative gratitude for the learning, the protection you might get. And if that doesn't resonate, then you can keep with the emotion and the statements, or you can keep with the breath and the hands in the spaces that they're in. So we're looking at being kind of one step removed from that emotion. It's not that we're trying to go through that emotion, we're just naming it, and we're kind of one step away. We're looking on as an observer. And we're breathing in kindness. And then if you wish, you can take that kindness somewhere else if you wish to at this last part of the session. So you can take that out more widely to people you feel could do with some kindness right now, support, whatever the word feels, compassion. And that might be to people who've got a similar emotion or a very different emotion that they're living with, struggling with, dealing with, learning from, growing through, whatever. So being a little bit more aware of the whole body if you can, and allowing the hands gently to come to somewhere comfortable, might be the lap. Take the strain out of the arms. And maybe a little movement in the chair, so the body's moving a little bit, maybe side to side, maybe picking the feet up, maybe just rubbing the hands on the legs or whatever. The eyes are not open if you're ready to just open the eyes to the day. Okay. So that was a little bit of a jam-packed session. Sorry if that was a bit too much or a bit confusing by inviting too many things, but those are all elements that you can just choose to play around with individually or whatever, if it feels good. So if it is something that kind of makes some sort of sense or you feel you need more practice, then you'll get the recording and you can kind of reintroduce yourselves to that during our break. So lovely to see you, and I'll see some of you around anyway. I might bump into some of you on a walk, which I do sometimes. Okay, so thank you for joining, and I'll see you more formally, if you like, in November for these sessions. And yeah, take what you can and use what you feel comfortable with and practice in the way that you wish to. So any of this could be done walking, sitting outside, looking outside, whatever kind of suits your sense of being connected. Right, I'll let you get on with your day. It's not raining at the moment. I believe it might. All right, take care. Nice to see you all.